Dear participants, we have a distinguished guest from Turkish Northern Republic of Cyprus, Mr. Ergün Olgun, who was Undersecretary of Presidential, and he will be the chief negotiator in the upcoming days in Cyprus. Today we will talk about the East Mediterranean and the Cyprus in changing conjuncture, and this panel would be live on the YouTube. Mr. Ergün Olgun, thank you very much accepting our invitation. You honored us to be here with our participants from all over the world. Now I give floor to you. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this invitation. Now the subject is the Eastern Mediterranean and Cyprus. And the point is that the state of affairs, the conjuncture in the Eastern Mediterranean has changed. I will first try to give you some information about the facts regarding Cyprus and the Eastern Mediterranean. It's based on these facts that we will evaluate the changes in the state of affairs in the Eastern Mediterranean. Then I'll try to give you some information about the strategic significance of the Eastern Mediterranean and Cyprus. I will then try to address what has contributed to the change of state of affairs in the Eastern Mediterranean. What are the factors that have contributed to this? And then I'll talk about some conclusions based on the arguments, on the points that I have raised. First, about some facts regarding Cyprus and the Eastern Mediterranean. We need to understand that the island of Cyprus is shared by Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots, who are political equals. Their relationship is not one of majority and minority, it's one of political equals. Neither side can claim authority or jurisdiction over the other. Unfortunately, the international community since 1964 has allowed the Greek Cypriot side to claim sovereignty over the Turkish Cypriots. This is one reason why they have not been able to reach an agreement in Cyprus, because the Greek Cypriots don't want to step down from the position they acquired in 1964, giving them the right or the authority to represent the whole of Cyprus, despite Turkish Cypriot objections. So this is one factor that we have to bear in mind, that the two communities are co-owners of the island of Cyprus, and that they are political equals under international agreements and UN Security Council resolutions. But despite this fact, the Greek Cypriots continue to claim that they are the sovereign authority for the whole island. Second, Greek Cypriots see Greece as their mother country, and Turkish Cypriots see Turkey as their own mother country. So the Cyprus issue also is related to Greece and Turkey, because these are the mother countries of the two communities living on the island. Therefore, these two countries have the status of guarantor powers regarding the agreements on Cyprus. So this has to be borne in mind, that Turkey and Greece have guarantor rights. They have, let's say, certain privileges regarding the island of Cyprus, which we need to bear in mind as guarantors. Then we have to bear in mind that Cyprus is 60 kilometers, only 60 kilometers from Turkey, and over 800 kilometers from Greece. So Turkey has major security concerns. It has concerns about the maritime areas in the Eastern Mediterranean in which Cyprus is placed. Therefore, we have to bear in mind that Greece is far away, whilst Turkey is only 60 kilometers away. As I mentioned earlier on, the political equilibrium political equilibrium was established in Cyprus in 1960 by the 1960 agreements, which gave independence to Cyprus from Britain. Under the terms of this agreement, as I mentioned earlier on, the two sides are co-founders of the Partnership Republic of Cyprus, and this partnership was usurped in 1963 by the Greek Cypriots, and the international community, unfortunately, accepted this usurpation despite the international agreements and despite the provisions of the constitution. So this needs to be borne in mind as well, that an equilibrium was destroyed in Cyprus in 1963, and that disequilibrium is still continuing today and is the main reason for the absence of a settlement based on political equality in Cyprus. I'm looking at my notes, sorry, so that I don't. Now, the Greek Cypriots have an obsession that the island of Cyprus is Hellenic. This is why they try to sort of establish hegemony over the Turkish Cypriots. This vision hasn't changed. It started in 1820. It gained a little bit more of political status when Greece gained its independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1830. And it has been continuing and is an aspiration of Greeks that all Greek communities living outside Greece need to unite with the Greek mainland. And Cyprus is one of those places. It's called Enosis, Union of Cyprus with Greece. And in addition to usurping power in 1963 in Cyprus, they tried to unite the island with Greece in 1974, which led to the Turkish intervention on the 20th of July, 1974, as a guarantor power to prevent the union of Cyprus with Greece. So this has to be borne in mind as well, that the Greek Cypriot vision or obsession to unite Cyprus-Greece has not changed. And this is also the reason why Greek Cypriots have refused several UN proposals for settlement in Cyprus, like the 1990 set of ideas, like the 2004 comprehensive settlement for Cyprus, in which there were two referenda on the island for the United Nations plan, where the Greek Cypriots voted by 76%, a significant majority, to reject the UN plan for power sharing, whereas Turkish Cypriots accepted it by 65%. Therefore, even United Nations plans for power sharing in Cyprus have met resistance from Greek Cypriots who continue to claim that the island of Cyprus is Hellenic. So basically, when we come to today, many Turkish Cypriots, the majority of Turkish Cypriots have lost hope in a power sharing deal with Greek Cypriots because they believe that this Greek Cypriot obsession will not change and that they will continue to want to unite the island with Greece. Therefore, many Turkish Cypriots are now against a federal settlement for Cyprus. And this is why in the elections only 2 weeks ago, President Tatar won elections on a ticket that supported a two-state solution for Cyprus. So these are the facts in Cyprus, and the fact that President Tatar has won elections on a two-state ticket is because Turkish Cypriots have lost hope and are frustrated with a federal settlement in Cyprus. Now I come to the subject of the significance, the strategic significance of the Eastern Mediterranean and Cyprus, so that we understand the change of conjecture and the implications of this on the geopolitics of the region. First, the Suez Canal has shortened sea routes to Europe from the Far East to Europe by 7,000 kilometers. And the Suez Canal is now a significant sea channel or sea route or sea canal, which brings trade and shipping from the Far East into Europe. And I can give you some figures regarding this. About 30% of the world's trade goes through the Suez Canal and through the Mediterranean, through the Eastern Mediterranean. So you can understand the significance of the Eastern Mediterranean related to the Suez Canal. Secondly, because of this trade, and not only trade, but also energy. Energy is also important. In addition to trade, energy is transported to Europe through the Suez Canal. And many of the sources of energy are in the Middle East, which are in close proximity to the Eastern Mediterranean region. So basically, it's energy security and international trade security that is linked to the Suez Canal and to the Eastern Mediterranean. And Cyprus is in a position to guard this Suez Canal. That is why it is strategically important in the region. Just to give you additional figures, currently, each day, around 4,000 cargo ships travel in the Eastern Mediterranean, carrying cargo to Europe or from Europe to the the Far East. So it's significant in that regard. About 41% of the petrol resources and about 68% of known petrol resources and 41% of natural gas resources are in this region. So that adds to the significance of the Eastern Mediterranean. So Cyprus, because of these, has at the crossroads of three continents, that's Europe, Africa, and Asia. And it's because its proximity to oil fields and to international trade routes is in a strategic position. And there are two sovereign British bases on the island, which are also used by the United States. So there are the Western Alliance, in a sense, is placed in Cyprus to guard its interests regarding international trade and energy security. So these are this is the significance of the Eastern Mediterranean and the significance of Cyprus. So let us go into some of the reasons that have contributed to the emergence of a new state of affairs in the Eastern Mediterranean. Let me also add, before I go into this, that because of the strategic significance of Cyprus, practically all major powers and regional powers are interested and try to influence the settlement process in Cyprus. Therefore, the European Union, for example, wants Cyprus to stay within its area of influence. It wants Cyprus to be one of its members, although the southern part is a member. The northern part is not part of the European Union. The TRNC is not part of the European Union, but they want to extend their authority to northern Cyprus, to the TRNC as well. So the European Union is trying to influence the political settlement process in Cyprus. Russia is interested in influencing a Cyprus settlement because it has special relations with the Greek Cypriots. They are both from the Orthodox religion. They have religious ties, but they are also, because of that religious tie, Russia sees itself as a patron of Orthodox Christianity, and it tries to protect Greek Cypriot interests in Cyprus. They are the major supporter of the Greek Cypriots in the Security Council, UN Security Council. So Russia wants to influence the political settlement in Cyprus. The US and Britain are using the bases on the island. Therefore, they are interested in preserving their own interests in the island. Well, France wants to establish a base in Cyprus. That is why it is interested. It is recently using the Paphos air base in the southern part of the island, and it is conducting joint military exercises with the Greek Cypriots. They are trying to influence, for their own interests, a political settlement in Cyprus. And naturally, Turkey, only 60 kilometers away, and a guarantor power trying to protect the Turkish Cypriots' interests, has all the right to try to see that a political settlement in Cyprus will not threaten its own interests, Turkey's own interests. So Turkey has a special position, and we have to bear in mind that because of the significance of Cyprus, all powers are interested in trying to influence the political settlement process, and we cannot expect Turkey to sit down and wait for others to shape the political future of Cyprus. Coming back to what has influenced the state of affairs and the conjuncture in the Eastern Mediterranean and Cyprus. First, the 1960 agreements established an equilibrium in Cyprus, as I mentioned earlier on, between Greek Cypriots, Turkish Cypriots, Greece and Turkey, based on the Lausanne Treaty, to have some kind of, for neither of them or for neither of them to have any kind of superiority over the other. So Turkish Cypriots could not have superiority over Greek Cypriots. Greek Cypriots should not have superiority over Turkish Cypriots. Greece and Turkey should have a balanced relationship. This was the arrangement for sustainable peace and stability in the Eastern Mediterranean under the 1960 agreements. This equilibrium was destroyed in 1963 by the Greek Cypriot coup and the international community's acceptance of that, of the legitimacy or the usurpation of the seat of government by the Greek Cypriots. So this was the first dent in the need for equilibrium, need for stability in the Eastern Mediterranean, therefore causing Turkey to intervene in Cyprus in 1964. I am an Erenköy fighter. I was in Erenköy as a student fighter, and it was only the Turkish Air Force which saved us from Greek Cypriot assaults. So I'm first-hand experiencing why Turkey, after 1963, had to intervene in Cyprus based on its rights, guarantor rights, so that both Turkish Cypriots' rights were preserved and its own security needs were guarded. So starting from 1963, we see that the stability in the Eastern Mediterranean is slowly being challenged and being destroyed or being led to some kind of an unstable situation. So that is the first dent. The second dent came, I mean, there are many other dents, but I'm going to put some highlights into this. So the second dent came in 2004 with the rejection of the Greek Cypriots of the UN Comprehensive Settlement Plan, that's the Annan Plan. And despite their rejection of the Annan Plan, the UN Settlement Plan for Cyprus, their admittance to the European Union. With the entrance of the European Union on behalf of the Greek Cypriots and based on the European Union's principle of solidarity with its members, we see that the European Union formed with Greece and the Greek Cypriots an alliance against the Turkish Cypriot interests and Turkish interests in Cyprus. So this is the second dent that jeopardized stability in the Eastern Mediterranean and destroyed the state of affairs that was established in 1960. So I'm going to highlight this point significantly later on as well, the implications of this for the Cyprus process. So second is the unilateral admission of the Greek Cypriot side without the consent of the Turkish Cypriots, despite the consent of the Turkish Cypriots, into the European Union on behalf of Cyprus, meaning that Turkish Cypriots were subjugated to the Greek Cypriots and to the European Union, which is against international treaties and against the constitution of the 1960 constitution that established the Partnership Republic. Third significant intervention or dent into the state of affairs came with the Greek Cypriots' unilateral hydrocarbon exploration. Starting from 2003, they signed a maritime delimitation agreement with Egypt first in 2003. Later, they signed a delimitation of maritime areas with Lebanon. That was in 2007. And in 2010, they signed an agreement with Israel. And this was despite the objections of Turkish Cypriots, who said that all natural resources and all maritime areas are co-owned by the two communities under international treaties. You cannot do this on your own. We have to act together. We don't give you our consent to sign these agreements. But despite these, the Greek Cypriots went ahead with international support and again dented the needed equilibrium in the area. And they continued to grant licenses to international companies as of This is exploration and exploitation licenses as of 2011. Therefore, in 2012, or starting from 2011 and 2012, Turkish Cypriots said, unless you stop these, we are going to start our own exploration processes ourselves. Therefore, Turkish Cypriots, with Greek Cypriots rejecting the Turkish Cypriot offer, signed licenses with the Turkish Petroleum Company, TPAO, TPAO, yes, okay, and started granting licenses, and the Turkish Petroleum Company started to do seismic studies in the licensed areas that the TRNC gave to that company. Therefore, this contributed to another element of instability in the Eastern Mediterranean, thus jeopardizing the equilibrium and the state of affairs established in 1963. Finally, see what I have. Finally, the final dent came with Greek Cypriots and Greece trying to establish military and political alliances in the Eastern Mediterranean. After the gas licenses, Egypt, Israel, even Lebanon, even the Palestine Authority came into agreement with the Greek Cypriots and formed an alliance. I will give you the name of that alliance. It's called the East Med Gas Forum. This is established in 2020 in September, not only a few months ago. An alliance against Turkish Cypriots and Turkish interests. I'm really shocked that the Palestinian Authority became part of this alliance against the Turkish Cypriots and Turkey. It's a shocking process because Turkey is giving so much support to the Palestinians, and for the Palestinian Authority to do this to Turkish Cypriots and Turkey is a shocking arrangement. Therefore, Turkey is now, the Turkish Cypriots and Turkey are now jointly facing a geostrategic alliance in the Eastern Mediterranean, and this is where we are today, and this is why President Talan won these elections, joined forces with Turkey to fight this alliance so that we protect the interests of the Turkish nation together with Turkish Cypriots and Turkey. This is where we are. So what are the implications? I mean, I'm coming to my conclusions and then we can have some questions. The implications of this is that we now have polarization in the Eastern Mediterranean. This polarization is a risky polarization because first, it is challenging the solidarity of the NATO alliance in which Turkey is a member. Secondly, it has turned the Cyprus issue, for example, from being an issue between the two communities into an issue of Greece, Greek Cypriots, the European Union against the Turkish Cypriots and Turkey. It is furthermore jeopardizing the links, the relationship of Turkey with the European Union because of the European Union's solidarity with the Greek Cypriots and Greece. The European Union is not looking at the merits of the Cyprus issue. It is not looking into the equity requirements of sharing hydrocarbon resources, determining maritime areas in the Eastern Mediterranean. A small island like Costellerizo, Mace, is claiming many more times of its size areas in the Eastern Mediterranean. It is claiming unproportionate rights in the Eastern Mediterranean. And given the Sevilla map that is now supported by the Greek Cypriots and Greece, they're trying to take Turkish Cypriots' rights away and giving only a small shoreline to Turkey, shore area to Turkey, and getting the lion's share for Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, which are joining their own maritime areas, Greece and the Greek Cypriots, and pushing Turkey into into a narrow strip along its coast. I mean, this is against the principle of equity under international law, the law of the sea. It is against the interest of Turkish Cypriots. So the European Union, instead of paying attention to the needs of equity and to the rights of Turkish Cypriots, is blindly, or not blindly, but consciously paying attention or abiding to the principle of solidarity with Greek Cypriots and overlooking the needs of security and stability in the Eastern Mediterranean. This is really a dramatic development. I think it has an element of clash of civilizations as well. I'm sorry to mention this, but I see this happening. The clash of civilizations element is playing a role in this. And I'm really saddened that this is the case. Instead of going for merits in the region, we are not blindly, but consciously going into this polarization and divisive policy in the Eastern Mediterranean. Shall I stop here and take some questions?
Mr. Ergün, thank you. I think we have few questions. We can continue with the questions if it is okay for you.
Absolutely, yes.
I would like to ask first question. As you know, in the last weeks, the opening of closed Maraş region made a quite huge controversy within the Western world, especially within the EU, and even the Americans criticized the Turkish Cyprus and Turkey's move to open the closed Maraş region. How do you see how it will be affected the upcoming possible negotiations between the both sides about this, the opening closed region of Maraş?
There are political reasons and there are humanitarian reasons for the Maraş initiative of the Turkish Cypriots and Turkey. Let me first go into the political reasons. The Greek Cypriots, let me first go into some concepts in conflict resolution before I'm into a conceptual framework before I put my analysis forward. First, one of the fathers of the conflict resolution, Professor William Zartman, who was one of my professors in the United States, his theory of a mutually hurting stalemate to prepare the ground for political settlement, win-win settlement, is a key element in the resolution of conflicts. This theory says that unless conflicting parties are equally hurt from a stalemate, they will not go for an agreement. If it is only one side which is hurt and the other side is not hurt, the side which is not hurt will want to continue to hurt the other side until the other side gives in. So you have to have a mutually hurting stalemate to get a conflict ripe for resolution so that a win-win settlement can be possible. The international community has given the Greek Cypriots a comfort zone. They do not feel uncomfortable. They do not feel hurt with the current stalemate on the island because they can continue to claim that they are the sovereign authority on the island. They can claim, they can impose restrictions, isolation on Turkish Cypriots, economic and social and political. They can hurt Turkey and the Turkish Cypriots through the European Union. They have all the tools in their hands to benefit from the status quo. They do not want to change it. Now, these conditions are not conducive to a political settlement in Cyprus. The way to prepare the ground for settlement in Cyprus is to try to make the two sides need a settlement. The need element is very important. Both sides have to desperately need a political settlement for a political settlement to be possible. Particularly a federal settlement, which is a partnership of two or more polities or peoples. You do not establish a partnership unless you cannot do it on your own. If you can do everything on your own, you don't need a partner. Greek Cypriots have been given the possibility of doing everything they want on their own. They do not need the Turkish Cypriots. They have not been made to need Turkish Cypriots. Therefore, these conditions are not conducive to a political settlement, particularly a federal settlement in Cyprus. What can change this? We have been saying to the international community that we have to level the playing field in Cyprus, equalize the status of the two sides, prevent one side to claim authority and sovereignty over the other, so that we can work towards a settlement in which neither side will feel threatened. The international community has not done this. We have been doing this for 52 years. I have been negotiating on behalf of the Turkish Cypriot community for nearly 20 years. I'm now again in a position like that today. So I will continue with my efforts, but our strategy now is going to change. We are not going to beg from anyone from now on that they respect Turkish Cypriot political equality. We are going to make sure that they respect us. Now, one tool we are going to use is going to be hydrocarbons. If the Greek Cypriots continue with their unilateral action, we will continue with our unilateral action. We will say that we are sovereign in these areas, thanks to Turkey and the Turkish Navy and the Turkish Petroleum Company and President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. We are now together and we are going to fight this challenge to us, claiming sovereignty in the Eastern Mediterranean, because we are going to create our own fait accompli, and we are going to say that we are going to be sovereign in these areas. You cannot come into these areas. Now, this is a major message. This is going to change the state of affairs in the Eastern Mediterranean, because petroleum companies coming to the area are going to say now, well, I mean, there is conflict in this area. There are two sides claiming sovereignty. How can we operate in this area? There are warships in this area. So this is a message that the Greek Cypriots need us, and that if exploration is going to continue from now on in the Eastern Mediterranean, Turkish Cypriots and Turkey have to be taken into account. So it is no more at the negotiating table only, but it is going to be on the area, on the field, that we show our presence and continue to show our presence. So this is a change of strategy, and this is a joint strategy of Turkish Cypriots and Turkey. Second, Varosha. Greek Cypriots have been thinking and assuming that Varosha will be returned to them if there is an agreement, when there is an agreement. There is not going to be an agreement, because they don't want an agreement with the Turkish Cypriots. Therefore, we are going to open up Varosha. Varosha is not going to be is not going to be part of their state from now on. It's part of our own state, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. But we are going to do this in a humanitarian way. We are going to open the closed area of Varosha to its previous residents and to the people who have land ownership in the area. Therefore, it's going to be legitimate. It's going to be based on UN. The UN resolutions on Varosha say that Varosha can only be open to its previous residents. This is exactly what we are going to do. So they can come under TRNC authority, based on our laws, to invest in Varosha if they like and return to their properties, but it is going to be under TRNC administration. So it has a humanitarian element, return property that has not been used since 1974 to its previous owners, but it also has an economic dimension. The economic dimension is that it's going to contribute to the TRNC's tourism sector significantly, because as I said, this is a prime area, tourism area, but it is going to be done also with Greek Cypriot investment in the TRNC. If they want to return, they will have to invest but it is going to be them investing the money, and the contribution will be to both Greek Cypriots investing there and to the TRNC. So first, geostrategic dimension, political dimension, second, humanitarian dimension, third, economic dimension. It's a major project, and we will see to it that it is done.
Thank you, Mr. Ergün. It's a quite groundbreaking explanation to my question. I think it's a very, very important strategy you mentioned. We have questions. I will read the questions. The questions from Muhammed Reza, who is a PhD student in Isparta Süleyman Demirel University. He asked that why Turkey supported 2004 referendum and people also said yes. Paying attention to the result of Annan Plan, why Akıncı tried to experience the same way and people said yes to him in his first round and selected him?
Now, in 2004, naturally the circumstances were different at that time. Today, circumstances are different. In 2004, Turkey still hoped that some kind of deal could be achieved with the Greek Cypriots, and that Turkey at that time could have a better relationship with the European Union. So first, the assumption was that a settlement in Cyprus can be achieved, and that this would be as much balanced as possible, as planned out in the Annan Plan. That's why Turkey supported it. It wasn't fully a balanced arrangement. It had favorable sides to the Greek Cypriots, but then, despite that, there was the assumption that maybe this could work, a last chance. And as I said, Turkey's relationship with the European Union at that time was in a different setting, and Turkey hoped that its membership process will be able to continue and lead to membership. Naturally, both of these have not proven to be correct. And despite the fact that the Turkish Cypriots and Turkey supported the Annan Plan, the Greek Cypriot side refused it because their intention was full control, no power sharing with Turkish Cypriots, full control of the island. Therefore, they refused it. Now, why Akıncı won in the first round? There is a significant amount of effort on the part of the international community, particularly the European Union, to influence Turkish Cypriot public opinion. There are major projects run by the European Union, by the international community through UNDP, which try to strengthen the links of the Turkish Cypriots with the European Union and distance the Turkish Cypriots from Turkey. This has been going on for a very, very long time. And you have to bear in mind that the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus has a population of 350,000 people. 350,000 people, the power of the European Union, its resources, the Greek Cypriot side ambition to extend its authority to Northern Cyprus, and its efforts on the psychological level to influence Turkish Cypriots, to influence Turkish Cypriot behavior. These are not minor things. The identity of Turkish Cypriots is being challenged. I can give you one example. Only some time ago, a Turkish Cypriot student, aged 13, taking part in a bicommunal activity in the buffer zone. The buffer zone is the area between Greek Cypriots South and Turkish Cypriot, the TRNC. It's an area controlled by the United Nations. In that zone, Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot students, the Turkish Cypriot students were asked why they have so many statues of Atatürk in the TRNC. Atatürk is part of Turkish Cypriot identity. And these people were asking this question, you are Cypriots, not even the word Turkish is not used, you are Cypriots. Why do you have so much affiliation with Atatürk? Now this is a psychological effort to undermine the identity of Turkish Cypriots, their attachment to Turkey. And this has been continuing for years, and it has had an influence, sadly. Therefore, today, we need to fight these challenges, not only on the economic front, not only on the political front, not only on the military front, but also on the behavioral front. We have to have policies and practices that will cherish the Turkish Cypriot identity and its attachment to Turkey. I mean, these are important policies, and we hope that in the coming years, months, years, we will be able to address this issue as well. Therefore, Akıncı, under the influence of international efforts, won in the last term. But today, the challenge against Turkish Cypriots and Turkey is more visible. It's more open today. You can look at the maritime areas, look at what is happening near Costello Resort, look at the case where Turkish Cypriots are still offering Greek Cypriots that we do hydrocarbon exploration together. Only even Akıncı offered this to Greek Cypriots about a year ago. And the Greek Cypriots refused. They said, this is our sovereignty. You are not entitled to talk about this subject. So these have become more visible for Turkish Cypriots, and Turkish Cypriots supported Tatar because of the visible challenge today. So these are, I mean, my answer to your question, the circumstances are changing. The challenge is still there. The threat is still there. And we have to address this threat using all kinds of tools, psychological tools, social tools, economic tools, to be able to fight. We have to use all kinds of technology, social technology, to protect our own interests. I stop here.
We have one more last question
Okay.
from Dr. Selim Kanat from Sparta Süleyman Demirel University. He asked that, dear Olgun, do you think the Eastern Mediterranean hydrocarbon potential will affect the solution of Cyprus problem positively or negatively for the TRNC?
Hydrocarbons discovery can be a kısmet, or it can be a curse. Unfortunately, wise people make sure that hydrocarbons discovery is a kısmet. But unfortunately, Greek Cypriots have turned it into a curse because of their greediness, because of the fact that they want to possess everything and deprive Turkish Cypriots of their rights, and even deprive Turkey of its rights in the Eastern Mediterranean. Therefore, as it stands now, so far, it has been a curse. But there comes a point, as I mentioned earlier on, when a curse may become a mutually hurting stalemate. It may hurt, a curse may come to the point that it does not only hurt one party, but it hurts all. Therefore, we have to make sure that this curse does not only hurt us, but hurts the Greek Cypriots. This is why we are starting our own exploration in the Eastern Mediterranean. And I'm hoping that hydrocarbons discovery in the Eastern Mediterranean, although it is a curse now, will eventually turn into a blessing, and that it will knock some common sense into the minds of other actors in the area, and that we will be able to jointly and based on equity to share the resources in the Eastern Mediterranean. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ergün. We don't have any question right now. Yes, we had just received one more, if it is okay for you.
Okay.
From Sinan Haskan, he asked that as a result of developments in the oil exploitation process, sometimes interest conflicts reveal among MNCs. At this point, to get a crucial advantage, how should TRNC follow a policy? Because in such case, MNC's policies may become controversial with their original based country, with my all respects.
I have to get this question again because I could not understand the key element of the question. Can you repeat it, please?
Yes, I will read again. He asked that as a result of developments in the oil exploration process, sometimes interest conflicts reveal among MNC's multinational companies. At this point, to get crucial advantage, how should TRNC follow a policy? Because in such a case, multinational companies' policies may become controversial with their original based country.
Okay, yeah, okay, I got the question. Now, few things. One, the cost of or the price of hydrocarbons today, that is natural gas today, is such a low level. Bear in mind the gas coming from Russia to Europe, and compare this price with the price of gas that can be extracted in the Eastern Mediterranean. We are talking about deep sea gas coming out. And this deep sea gas needs to be transported to markets. There are two ways of transporting this. One is through a pipeline. The other is through LNG plants to be shipped to destinations. Now, the Greek Cypriots have been working on, the Greek Cypriots and Greece have been working on an East Mediterranean pipeline. This pipeline is a very costly pipeline to take gas from the Eastern Mediterranean, from Israel and Cyprus, not Egypt, because Egypt has its own LNG plants. It is now condensing gas and shipping it to the Far East. Therefore, it's not going to join this Eastern Mediterranean pipeline. Israel and Cyprus on their own, I'm not exactly sure how many kilometers this could be, but it could be something like 2,000 kilometers from where the gas is found to the markets in Europe. That is a very expensive project. Therefore, the cost of taking gas out from the deep sea and exporting it through an expensive pipeline to Europe is going to raise the price of the selling price of gas to Europe. It cannot compete with the Russian gas. Therefore, this is one economic viability element of the gas found in the Eastern Mediterranean. The only way to make Eastern gas economically viable is to ship it to Turkey. Turkey is one of the key markets, one of the major markets in the region, importing gas. Turkey is in very close proximity to the gas fields. Therefore, it is more it's more advantageous to ship it to Turkey rather than ship it to Europe, because through Turkey already has pipelines to Europe. It can use those pipelines and be shipped to Europe. But Greek Cypriots and Greek Cypriots are against this because they don't want connection to Turkey. So politically, extracting Eastern European gas because of prices and because of the way it can be taken to markets is so expensive, is currently not economically viable. Only when Turkey comes in and Turkey is a buyer, it can be viable. But that is not at this moment still the case. Secondly, the person who asked the question is right. Petrol companies and the companies in which they are based may have competing interests, but this is most of the time not the case. Generally, petroleum companies, for example, Eni, Italy, Total, France, or ExxonMobil from the United States, they usually work in line with their country's national policy and national interest. Usually there is no competition, there is no conflict of interest between petrol companies and their home country. I have not seen this happen at all in my experience. I may be wrong, but I have not seen it happen. Therefore, they go according to their country's national interest. But petroleum companies can have conflicting interests of their own between themselves. For example, Russian gas companies do not want gas exploration in the Eastern Mediterranean. Therefore, Russia has not joined the many companies which are now trying to explore. I mean, even Qatar is part of a consortium with ExxonMobil to explore under a license granted by South Cyprus. And Qatar is a friend of Turkey. Despite this, Qatar is trying to explore with ExxonMobil in the Eastern Mediterranean. Although because of the COVID-19 pandemic, all activity of exploration has now been stopped. It is only the Turkish Petroleum Company which is now exploring in the Eastern Mediterranean. All other companies, Total, Eni, ExxonMobil, Qatar, have all stopped. They're not active. They're not active anymore because, as I said, of the pandemic. Therefore, among petrol companies and gas companies, there is competition, and Russia does not want gas to be found in the Eastern Mediterranean because it's going to be a competitor to its market in Europe. Therefore, we need to be using that conflict of interest to our benefit. We need to be more active in the Eastern Mediterranean, exploring, while the others have stopped. If we can find gas in the Eastern Mediterranean, it will be a game changer. And there is intensive effort on the part of, I mean, yes, in Karadeniz, we have found some natural gas gas fields. If we can do the same in the Eastern Mediterranean, this will be a game changer. It will mean that they will have to come to us. And this will be a situation where they will need us. And that could be one reason we can have a win-win agreement in the region. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Mr. Ergün. I would like to thank you to be with us today on behalf of my associations, our conference partners from Bosnia, Macedonia, and Isparta Süleyman Demirel University. And also I would like to thank on behalf of the participants. I believe that it is one of the best sessions we conducted through these conferences. It will be very, very interesting who will watch later on YouTube after this session. It's quite informative about what will happen in the short term in the island. So once more, I would like to thank you to be here with us. Thank you, Mr. Ergün. I hope we will be again together in different sessions because in Turkey and in the region, it is one of the quite hot topic, and it will take more attention within upcoming months. Inshallah, Turkey and Turkey Cyprus will be much more advantageous through the next process, and world will be to see this reality in soon, inshallah. Thank you again.
Inshallah. I thank you for inviting me. And I thank also the participants coming here, and we are looking forward to a better future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.